Let us commence at the press conference by Foreign Minister IWAYA.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to say a few remarks. Concerning the U.S. presidential elections, Mr. Trump is certain to win. President-elect Trump, during his first term as president, has made great contributions to the development of U.S.-Japan relations. The strengthening of the U.S.-Japan alliance is of the utmost priority in Prime Minister Ishiba's diplomatic and national security policy. The securities environment around our country and the international society becomes even more difficult, and therefore the U.S. alliance as well as the U.S. cooperation, U.S.-Japan alliance and U.S.-Japan cooperation as global partners is becoming increasingly important as the government, inclusive of President-elect Trump, with the next U.S. administration, we will forge very strong trust and cooperative relationship. And based on that, we would like to elevate the U.S.-Japan alliance to a new level. Yesterday morning, Prime Minister Ishiba had a telephone conference with President-elect Trump. From this viewpoint, we believe that this is a very significant first step. And that is all from me. Thank you.
Now, those with the question are kindly asked to raise your hand, and once you are appointed, please make sure to move on to the microphone and please give us your questions. Kamimura-san, from the Yomiuri Shimbun, please. My name is Kamimura. I belong to the Yomiuri Shimbun. This is related to your opening remark, which is in regards to the election of Mr. Trump. Well, up until now, Japan included, including through the era of the Biden administration, we've had the multilateral cooperation, including the G7 Quad, Japan, U.S., South Korea, and so on. And there is some who are saying that the election of President Trump may cause an impact to the multilateral cooperation. I would like to know your thoughts in regards to it, and what sort of role would you like to play as Japan within the framework of the multilateral framework, including the U.S. Well, the next president has been chosen, but the next administration has not started at this moment. Therefore, in regards to the effect of the U.S. government policy after the launch of the new administration, I would like to refrain from making speculation. Anyhow, at this moment, Japan, in order to further enhance the G7, Japan, U.S., Australia, India, and the Japan, U.S., Korea, or the Japan, U.S., Philippines. We would like to further enhance such the cooperation among the like-minded countries, or in a multifaceted way. There is no change to that, and we would like to further work on exchange of the opinions closely with the next administration.
Yonezu-san from NHK, please. Yonezu from NHK, thank you. This is related to the U.S. presidential elections as well. The U.S. President-elect, Mr. Trump, and Ishiba Prime Minister had a telephone conference, and I think he said that it was a friendly atmosphere. Now, going forward, what kind of relationship should be forged, do you think? And furthermore, inclusive of the visit to South America, at what kind of timing should there be face-to-face meeting? Well, Prime Minister Ishiba and President-elect Trump yesterday had a telephone conference, and from Prime Minister Ishiba, he has said that it was a very friendly, he had a very friendly impression. Of course, we don't know what they thought, But it seems that mutually there was a friendly relationship that they would like to nurture going forward. I hope that will happen. As quickly as possible, they should win. That seems to be the agreement. So as quickly as possible, we hope that the meeting will be held and there will be coordination to allow for that. And therefore, at this point in time, we cannot say when the meeting is going to be held, but as quickly as possible, we hope that there will be direct face-to-face meeting that can be realized so that the trust relationship between the two can be constructed, and this can lead to the further development of the U.S.-Japan alliance.
Next question, please, from the Chugoku, please. My name is Miyano. I belong to the Chugoku Shimbun. Well, I would like to ask you the question in regards to the first committee for the disarmament and international security. Well, the government has decided to make opposing vote for the resolution that calls for the ratification of the treaty on the prohibition of the nuclear weapons. Well, under the Shiba administration, in regards to this treaty, the posture is different, including the minister mentioning that you would not deny outright. I would like to know as to why you had chosen to oppose to this instead of choosing the abstention or the support. Well, the treaty on the prohibition of the nuclear weapon is called to be, or understood to be the exit to the world without the nuclear weapons. But as you may know, well, none of the nuclear weapon in the country is participating, meaning we still have not been able to see the pathway towards that exit at this moment. Against that backdrop, Japan, as only a country that have ever suffered the atomic bombing in the war, we must pay the effort to have the nuclear weapon the countries to be invoked for the abolition of the nuclear weapons. Well, in regards to the draft resolution that you had pointed out, it was the resolution, a draft resolution that called for the immediate establishment of the treaty, and based on what I had mentioned, we decided to oppose. But anyhow, as the Japanese, the government, we are surrounded by the nuclear weapon countries, and their nuclear capabilities are enhancing at this moment. And not only that, there are countries that are mentioning that or opposing the threats based on the nuclear weapon. Therefore, we believe we shall maintain and enhance deterrence and shall work on the realistic and practical engagement towards the world without the nuclear weapons. So we would like to continuously consider as to what would be appropriate in that sense, and we would like to keep on paying the effort for that.
Baba-san from Nikkei, please. And Baba from Nikkei. Concerning the JICA information leakage issue, now JICA announced that they will be creating a verification committee. And how do you view this incident that would impair the trust of JICA, which is providing NGA as part of the Japanese international cooperation activities? So as just mentioned, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, concerning the yen loans to the Philippines, this is the Metropolitan Railway number 3 renovation plan. So the procurement, this is related to the procurement procedures, and secret information was leaked by JICA employee, and we are very seriously pursuing this issue. JICA, we understand, has established a verification committee concerning this incident, and as MOFA, we strongly demand JICA to come up with a recurrence prevention plan. And through this committee, we hope that JICA will make efforts to regain the trust of the citizens concerning ODA. So as MOFA, we would continue to oversee JICA's initiatives.
Next question, please. From Hokkaido Shimbun, Matsushita-san, please. My name is Matsushita. I belong to the Hokkaido Shimbun. I would like to ask a question because of the support of the Ukraine. Well, the new president-elect Trump, who is said to be not so proactive with support for the Ukraine, and not only that, there are the changing circumstances, including the dispatch of the troops by the DPRK to Russia. Well, if the North Korea is to participate in a full-fledged mode to the war, there is a possibility that we may not be able to avoid the impact to the East Asia. So it had been mentioned that the support would be further enhanced to the Ukraine, but I would like to know as to how you think about the necessity for the enhancement for the support for the Ukraine and also the necessity for the enhancement of the sanctions against Russia. First and foremost, or as to how this matter will be handled by the next administration of the U.S. Is something that I would like to refrain from speculating. And against that backdrop, if I may mention, well, in regards to the troops being dispatched to Russia by the DPRK, or the recent advancement of the military cooperation between Russia and the DPRK may further deteriorate the situation in Ukraine. Not only that, from the standpoint of the impact to the regional security surrounding our country, we believe that this is something that would have to be that we should be concerned of seriously. Well, there are much information, and I am aware of the comments being made by President Zelensky, but we still have not confirmed it about it. Including the possibility of the dispatchment of the troops engaging in Russia in the invasion of the Ukraine. We are monitoring the situation with the grave concern. The invasion of the Ukraine by Russia is an outrageous act which undermines the basis of the international order, and we have a strong sense of understanding that the security of the Europe and Indo-Pacific are indispensable. And we hope we are looking forward to paying the effort so that the long-standing and the just the peace for the Ukraine can be realized, and for that we would like to proceed with the support with the Ukraine with the strong sanction against Russia.
Azuhari-san from Pan Orient.
Thank you. Khaldu Ansari, Pan Orient News. There are some reports quoting Mr. Nakashima Yoichi, ambassador for the Palestinian affairs and the representative of Japan to Palestine, stating that Japan is planning or studying the possibility to recognize the state of Palestine. This long-due recognition comes very well with the policies Japan has been taking in support of the Palestinian rights and supporting them economically. Could you please confirm when the recognition of Palestine as a state is planned, and if not, what are the reasons? Thank you.
So as Japan, we have always been saying that we support the two-state resolution that through the negotiation of the parties. So we understand the desire of the Palestinians to set up their independent state, and until now we have been supporting Palestine's efforts to that end. And based on that, in terms of the state recognition, the peace process, how that will progress, that situation need to be taken into consideration, and the judgment needs to be based on that. So the peace process, so that this can progress, we will like to make the utmost effort. And based on that, we would like to think of the timing for the recognition of state.
Nishinaka-san, next question, please. Well, my name is Nishinaka. I'm a freelance. Nice to meet you. Well, the other day at the UN CEDW, well, to the Japanese government, the recommendations had been made in regards to the sexual violation recommended the punishment of the perpetrator for sexual violation by the U.S. military personnel in Okinawa, and also was the recommendations in regards to the unsolved issue of the comfort women, and also the efforts for the victims. Effort to compensate for the victims had been mentioned. Well, there are not only from the Korea, but there are a variety of the nationalities who are said to have been victimized. And so that, and I understand that the stance of the UN is that the issues have not been solved. I would like to know how the Japanese government received this matter, and I would like to know your take in regards to this, as to what sort of measures do you think would be necessary. Well, on 29th of October, the concluding observation of the CEDW had been disclosed in regards to that. Well, we, Japan, would like to sufficiently study the contents, and we would like to respond to this based on the necessity in an appropriate way. And in regards, as for the sexual violation of the U.S. military, the personnel. Well, it goes without saying that this the crime should never have occurred. But we, the government, take the fact that this had occurred repeatedly in a serious way. As for the U.S., they have announced and implemented a series of the preventive measures. But whether that really what the matter is that it would really lead to the prevention of the reoccurrence in regards to the tightening of the discipline of the U.S. military troops and in regards to the reoccurrence prevention, we would like to continuously ask them to work on. In regards to the recommendation in regards to the comfort of the women, well, the government's the basic stance is that before the Japan has signed the Convention of the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. Well, I understand that this issue had occurred, and that this does not apply, and therefore we believe that it is not appropriate to have this matter being covered under the concluding observations on 17th and the 9th. At the 9th, the report, the review conducted on 17th, against the questions being raised in regards to the comfort of women being raised from the committee side, the government delegation had responded and had seriously and diligently had responded and had conveyed and explained the concept of the Japan. For example, the variety of the measures, including the various initiatives, had been touched upon. As for the government, to the international, the community, including the committee, in order to make sure that the Japan's concept initiatives will be on this, the matter will be explained and will be understood. To that end, we look forward to continuously paying the effort.
Yeah, once again, Nishinaka, free journalist. I have another question. From October 23rd to November 1st, the U.S.-Japan integrated military exercise Kinto 25 was held in various places in Japan, Australia, Canada. Not only that, 13 countries will be participating as observers. So it is the largest scale exercise thus far. And concerning this, during this time, on October 26th, North Korean Ministry of Foreign Affairs have said that concerning this is hostile activities from U.S. and their allies, and that they have said that this is a threat to regional security, and this is a provocation, and that is announced by Reuters. And concerning this, Japan, South Korea, together with the U.S. military, there's been integrated exercise continuing during this time, and this may be a big reason for North Korea's development of missiles and nuclear experiments. So during this exercise, North Korea has set out this statement. And concerning this region, the large-scale military exercise, are you thinking of once again reviewing this so that this military conflict would not escalate? I'm sure there are many people in Okinawa who are afraid of that. So I would be interested in knowing your views. So North Korea's statement, we are aware of that. But before that, during this time, North Korea's repeated missile launch is a clear violation of the U.S. Security Council resolution, so missile nuclear development. And not only our country, but this threatens, this is a huge, serious threat to the safety and security of this region. So this is something I need to say. And based on that, North Korea's nuclear missile development, as I mentioned earlier, this is a clear violation of UN Security Council resolution, and this threatens the safety and security of international society. So these activities and the U.S., Japan, South Korea exercise, which has no problem related to international law, these two should not be debated at the same level. And earlier on October 31st, there was the U.S., Japan, South Korea foreign ministers' telephone meeting, and we strongly condemned the ICBM ballistic missile launch from North Korea. We once again confirmed that there will be close cooperation between Japan, U.S., and South Korea. So the securities environment surrounding this region is becoming increasingly difficult. So U.S., Japan, South Korea, and other like-minded nations' collaboration is becoming increasingly important. So we will continue to closely collaborate.
Any other questions? If not, with this, we will try to close the press conference. Thank you.